That question and issue you raised made me reflect on how capitalism has long been the root of inequality in terms of accountability towards climate change. With a decade of involving myself with movements for the betterment of the environment and finally becoming an environmental analyst in our company, I have seen how people suffer from the consequences of pollution and harming the environment. Unfortunately, in the Philippines, those in the slums suffer the most. Filipinos who are in the lower classes of society are the ones who ironically experience the detriments of climate change more, even though they only contribute the bare minimum percentage of emissions compared to the affluent who are usually businessmen. It's like we're riding a seesaw in the midst of a fire. Those who have more in life are in a safer spot as they weigh themselves down, away from the harmful smoke of the fire. On the other hand, those who have less or nothing in life are left with no choice but to stay at the higher end where they inhale all the harmful chemicals. This shows how dangerous inequality can be.
I totally agree, Miss Reyes. When I was still a student, I first encountered an article that is quite similar for today's meeting as it discussed the lens of accountability.
Yes, the lens of accountability. This is when we are trying to view traditional techniques aimed at increasing public accountability for agreed upon change initiatives rather, by countries and UN bodies, Noel 2008. One of my colleagues gave a lecture series about this, and I admired her for helping people, especially students, to reflect on the importance of holding each of us accountable for what we have done to the environment. Guerrero, cited in FU Academics 2020, enlightened me that this viewpoint is a growing trend of holding private firms accountable for climate change. She has even been part of a petition of how companies producing large emissions of toxic chemicals must shift away from their work and begin restoring communities, as they are the ones who are greatly responsible.
Especially in the Philippine society where manufacturers are fond of using single-use plastic and containers in packaging their product. They do not even spend a few pesos to contribute to the proper waste disposal of their products.
Exactly. With the need for a quick transition to a more sustainable life, these companies must definitely do their part. This is why initiatives like that of Ms. Guerrero aim to promote civil regulation or the governance of the private sector through civil society scrutiny, among other things, Noel 2008. It calls out those who leave the most carbon footprint to wake up and reflect. These various shifting strategies out there are beautiful and feasible. However, it has experienced difficulties in making progress. An example is the 2008 Climate Change Act in the United Kingdom, which depicts their commitment to controlling their carbon emissions and decarbonization of the electricity sector, Lockwood 2014. Unfortunately, their dealings with these prominent firms in the climate change regime were not stable, as the issue of economics came into the picture. Despite a few positive feedbacks and some institutional innovation, the act was deemed risky for the welfare of their country. This is what Guerrero mentioned in her talk about how it is ironic that the very entities that endangers our lives and our surroundings are also the same entities that we are used to living with daily. It seems that it will always be in the circulation of life, especially of how powerful a country's economy is.